Democratic Senator Chris Murphy visited a border facility last week, and he tweeted, "I fought back tears as a 13-year-old girl sobbed uncontrollably, explaining through a translator how terrified she was." Senator Murphy joins us now for his first TV interview since the visit, which did not include the media. Senator, good morning to you. It occurs to me that you and your colleagues in Congress are, in effect, our eyes and ears right now, the eyes and ears of the American people. So please tell us, as you held that young girl's hand and she cried in front of you, what were you thinking, and what were the conditions like for the other children there?
Well, what I thought about was the decision her family made to send her to the United States and how desperate things are in her home country of Guatemala. This is a humanitarian crisis in countries like El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, where the violence is so epidemic that these children have to take this harrowing journey to the United States. These families know these kids are going to likely end up in these detention facilities, but for them, that's better than facing certain death or recruitment into vicious drug gangs in their home countries. The conditions, listen, I wouldn't want, my children to be in those detention facilities, but this isn't 2019. These aren't cages. There are doctors and child care workers there, and the Biden administration is trying to, deal with a mess they were left from the Trump administration. The Trump administration effectively dismantled the asylum system, and so Biden is trying to stand it up as quickly as he can, get these kids processed so that they can have a chance to make the case to stay in the United States.
Senator Murphy, you set up the choice there for families quite well. There's the danger in the country where they're coming from, and then there's these facilities here in the U.S. The administration is saying the border is closed, but clearly the border is open for people under the age of 18 and for some families. Can you see how that might encourage more people to come and deepening of this crisis?
Well, there's no doubt that there are human smugglers that are lying to families in Mexico and Central America, telling them that they can come to the United States now. I think it's important for Secretary Mayorkas and others to make clear that with the exception of unaccompanied minors, everyone else gets turned around. But let's be clear, the policy we're applying to kids right now is the policy we applied to everyone prior to COVID. Even under Donald Trump, before early 2020, if you were an adult, a family, or a minor, and you presented yourself at the border and had a claim for asylum, you were allowed to stay and make that claim through the court system. So the policy right now that is in place for unaccompanied minors is the exact same policy that applied to every single migrant, even under Donald Trump prior to 2020. Nothing is new here. The border is not open, but for these select young children, it's just not right to turn them around and send them back into dangerous northern Mexico by themselves. We, as a compassionate, humane country, need to take care of them and protect them.
Yeah, well, Senator, people can understand from a humanitarian point of view that argument, but your critics will point out, and critics of the administration will point out, that by letting in, as you put it, select young people, but really all young people, that does encourage more to come. And when the smugglers say you can get in to a person under the age of 18, they're not lying.
Well, but again, the point I'm making is that this is the law, right? This was the law that Donald Trump was applying. The only change is that when COVID hit, there is a provision of the immigration statute that for a temporary amount of time during a public health emergency allows you to turn everybody back around. So the law says that absent that emergency, the United States has to give people who are showing up at our border a chance to apply for asylum. And listen, we are a compassionate, humane country. If these people really are facing death if they go back home, we should give them a chance to stay, at least for now, these children. Remember, 50% of these children
Senator,
don't actually pass the asylum bar. They actually do eventually get turned around and sent back home.
Senator, we're running out of time, but I want to ask you, what hope is there from where you're sitting for a bipartisan solution in Congress to address this issue?
My worry is that Republicans see this right now as a political wedge to try to hurt the president and drive down his very high approval ratings. They don't really want to talk about the current real crisis in America, which is COVID and the battered economy. President Biden is doing some pretty amazing things to get us back on the right footing with respect to our economic troubles. Republicans don't want to talk about that, so they want to talk about the border. I went there with a couple Republicans who are serious legislators, Rob Portman and Shelley Capito. My hope is that there's going to be enough Republicans in the Senate that we might be able to start to have a conversation about fixing our broken laws.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Senator Chris Murphy, thank you very much.